All right, welcome everybody. First of all, thank you to the Hoboken Public Library for hosting our Art at Home class, as always. And I want to give kudos to our librarian, Andy. He really worked hard to fix the technical glitch that we had. It took us almost 30 minutes to get you all into this class. We have no idea what happened. I'm blaming it on the heat and humidity, but Andy's a genius and he got most of us in. I have no idea.
We're up to 13 now.
How many people left? But here we are. Art at Home is the best. We are celebrating Gay Pride Month, LGBTQ Pride Month, and we are looking at a different artist each week who is part of that community and who has helped make this country the great country it is today, and who has helped the art scene of the United States be the exciting art scene that it is. I'm going to start by asking everyone please to mute their phones. It does make it easier for everyone to hear. And also, while we're doing our artwork, if you keep your phones muted, those of us who like to work in quiet will be able to create peacefully. All right, our artist for today, here's the agenda. I'm going to talk briefly, very briefly, about our artist today because our class has been shortened because of our tech difficulties. I'm going to talk briefly about our artist. We're going to look at her work. Then I'm going to tell you what supplies you need to gather, and then give you directions for you to be able to create your own artwork inspired by the artist of focus today. I failed to tell you my name. I am Liz Ndoy. I have been an artist, gosh, since I'm 7 years old. I've lived in Hoboken for 40 years, and I have been teaching for probably all 40 of those years and more. Today's artist is Mickalene Thomas. Mickalene Thomas is growing in fame and stature in the New York art scene even as we speak. She is born and raised right here in New Jersey. She was born in Camden, grew up in Hillside and East Orange. She is African American and a proud lesbian woman. She was raised by a mother who was apparently quite physically imposing. She was 6'1" and quite beautiful and was a model in her heyday and very much in touch with the art scene in New York City. She took Mickalene and her brother frequently to school programs at the Newark Museum and the Henry Street Settlement in New York City, where Mickalene at a very early age fell in love with art. Mickalene went to school in Portland, Oregon. She majored, believe it or not, in legal studies. She wanted to become a lawyer. She also minored in theater arts, so the love for the art scene was always there. While there, though, she fell in love with the art of Carrie Mae Weems, another African-American artist, a photographer, and she was very inspired by Weems' work because Weems celebrated the beauty and magnificence of African-American women. And of course, Mickalene Thomas was drawn to that work because it talked about her own life and celebrated her own experience. So that turned Mickalene onto the arts for her own career and her own professional life. And from Oregon, Thomas came back to New York and went to Pratt. She got her MFA at Pratt Institute, went on to Yale School of Art and got her MFA in 2002. She participated in the residency program at the Studio Museum of Art in Harlem from 2000 to 2003. She also did a residency program in Giverny, France, and at the Versailles. She currently lives and works in Brooklyn, New York. And you've probably heard something about her because she's been showing quite a bit in New York City, even as we speak, as I mentioned before. So her depictions of African American women explore notions of celebrity and identity while engaging with the representation of Black femininity and Black power. The many years that Thomas has spent studying art history, portrait painting, landscape painting, and still life has informed her work. She's drawn inspiration from multiple artistic periods and cultural influences throughout Western art history, including people like Ingres, Pablo Picasso, Henri Matisse, and Edouard Manet. She's also been influenced by Romare Bearden, the great African American collage artist whom we've spoken of before, those of you who've been studying with me for a while. She models her figures on the classical poses and abstract settings popularized by these modern artists as a way to reclaim agency for women who've been represented as objects to be desired or subjugated in Western art. She's also known for her elaborate mixed media pieces. She often uses things like rhinestones, fabric, and other things in collage work in her paintings. She also uses enamel and gold paint. She likes to make the surfaces of her paintings very shiny and glittery. All right, so she's working at proclaiming the visibility of women, particularly women of color, particularly lesbian women, women that she feels have been underrepresented in the world of art. Any thoughts or questions about the bio of Mickalene Thomas? We're going to start looking at her work now. You can always make mention or put questions in the chat box. I'm not always going to answer things right away, but I will get to them as quickly as possible. And apologies to, we have a new member of our class today, Stephanie. Usually, Stephanie, we do introductions when we have a new person in class. However, since we had technical difficulties at the beginning, I skipped that today. So apologies to Stephanie and to those of us who wanted to meet her, but we welcome you anyway, Stephanie.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's look at Mickalene's work. And I'm on speed dial with my talking, also because we've lost time in class. If I'm talking too quickly or you can't hear me, just, unmute and let me know. Here's the first picture. I'm going to make it bigger. I hope everyone can see. She often does celebrities. She's done portraits of Michelle Obama, Whitney Houston, Oprah Winfrey, etc. This may be a self-portrait, though. I'm not sure. Her works tend to be large. There is a piece at PS1 in Queens, the MoMA Satellite Museum of hers that's 10 feet by 24 feet.
Wow.
So they are mega works. Again, she wants to bring to the forefront the beauty and the magnificence of women, particularly women of color. Notice she often uses vintage fabric patterns, but notice the use of patterning, color, jewelry, glitter, elegance, makeup. She's looking to glamorize the women in her images. Strong line work. Look at the dark line under the chin in this portrait. Loving it. Beautiful compositional arrangement. This dark hair up against the very ornate background, but the edges of the hair seem to mirror and reflect the edges of the flowers in the pattern. I love this pendant on the necklace, seems to be echoed in the pattern on the dress. The V shape of the neckline is reflected in the jawline, the V of the jawline. So really, and the way the figure shoots diagonally off the page, forcing the eye from the bottom up to the right-hand corner of the image is very powerful. Very bold use of color. Okay, I'm going to whip through these guys because, again, we're under a time constraint. Here you can really see her use of things like glitter. This one is more mixed media. It's really collage. The first one was purely painting. This one you can see collage. Very different kind of composition, however. The figure is definitely full face and in the front. Something I wanted to mention too that's interesting about her work, the women are looking directly at the viewer, which up until this point in history, in the history of art, in the Western canon of art, is very unusual. Usually the gaze of the woman in the portrait is looking away. So this kind of forthright, in your face, staring out of the painting really gives power to the subject in the painting. She's not a woman who's shy or retiring. She's a woman who's making a statement about herself. All right, again, the details of jewelry, anything to enhance the glamour and beauty of the woman in the portrait. And Thomas frequently uses her friends as models, also includes herself in her work, and usually always puts her models against these richly patterned backgrounds. Again, she was influenced by people like Matisse, who did these kinds of ornate patterned backgrounds, and Romare Bearden with his very textured surfaces in his collage work. Faith Ringgold was another influence. So, and Ringgold, if you remember, was a textile artist, or is a textile artist, excuse me, still alive and kicking. Right here in New Jersey, our Faith. Interesting that she has obscured the eye here. I don't know if we have time to discuss why, but it's kind of interesting. All right, let's look at one or two more pictures and then we're gonna have fun. Yeah, so this one is more pure collage. There may be some paint in this as well. It's definitely mixed media. I mean, this line here may be painted. Not sure. But this is definitely photographic. Collage, glittered paper. Love this piece. So here you can see a cubist, kind of a Braque Picasso influence. The background is not patterned in this, which is interesting. This shape that she's chosen to collage here is a nice reflection of this blue line. So the kind of organic shape of the edge of the woman's body, the blue outline, and then the jaggedy organic shape here work really nicely together. But then it's kind of genius how she's worked in these very hard-edged geometric forms amidst all of that as well. Again, this stuff with the eye. Really like that.
The hair.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we have in past class, we've talked about the importance of hair in African American culture, particularly for African American women. So hair is a prominent part of these portraits that Thomas does. It's part of the image of the women that she is showing us. All right, one more. So this is probably her most famous image. I saved it till the end. Oops, here's Lily letting her in. So this piece is called Déjeuner sur l'herbe. She is taking directly from a very famous painting by Edouard Manet by the same name.
Not Gauguin?
No, Manet.
Okay.
Déjeuner sur l'herbe. I'll put it in the chat box after. And in the Manet painting, the women, there are three women, they are nude and they are sitting with men on the grass by the Loire, the bank of the Loire River, I believe, and they're having a picnic. And they're all looking away. But in this image by Thomas, the three women are looking at us. They are clothed in these very elegant dresses, and there are no men that I can see of in this picture. Now, this is the one I think that's 10 by 24 feet. This is an enormous
Wow.
piece, and it's mixed media. So I believe it's paint and collage both. And again, the hair. She's fascinated by blaxploitation movies. I don't know if you know about that genre in film that happened in the 70s. And there was an actress named Pam Grier, an African-American actress who appeared in several blaxploitation films. Shaft was one of those movies. And this was the way hair was done in the 70s, very bouffant afros. And this is the type of clothing that women wore, the kind of short, mini-skirted, geometric patterned, very brightly colored dresses. High boots. This woman is wearing boots. Talk about power, though. This image really conveys female power, I think. And this is so interesting here, the way she's kind of recreated, cut, and then recreated part of the larger image again over to the left. You see, that's part of this is shown again over here. All right. Thoughts, questions before we move on? Okay, welcome. A few people just entered, and apologies again for the technical difficulties that we faced in the beginning of this class. But we have 14 people in the class now, celebrating Mickalene Thomas with us today in the Hoboken Library Art at Home. All right, in the chat box, I'm going to put for everyone, déjeuner sur l'herbe is the name of the Mickalene Thomas painting, as well as the Manet painting that inspired it, that inspired her painting. So if you have a minute, you can look at both of them and compare. I'm not going to do that for us in this class. We don't have time today. All right. No comments? Did you like her work? Did you not like her work?
Fabulous.
Okay, a thumbs up from Heather. Somebody said fabulous. It's, if you ever get a chance to see it in person, you will be quite taken, I believe, with the just physical enormity of her work. All right. Here are the materials that you can use today. Do you have to use all these materials? No, this is a choice. I'm inviting you today to create a mixed media portrait. You're probably going to want some kind of drawing equipment, either pencil or a Sharpie. If you want colored drawing equipment, anything will work. Pastels, soft pastels, oil pastels, markers, whatever you'd like to use. Crayons, it's all good. Fabrics, any scraps of fabric that you may have. Colored paper, tin foil even, if you have aluminum foiled papers. Unfortunately, all of my fancy paper is living either at the Senior Center in Hoboken or the Hoboken Public Library. So I don't have any access to that kind of stuff. Glitter, if you have it. Glitter is terrific to use for this project. Something like sandpaper would be fun to use. So any kind of textured or fancy papers are great. If you have colored inks, or gold paint that you've been saving from, I don't know, a Halloween project or a craft project. Yarn would be good for this project. Any kinds of beads or broken pieces of costume jewelry would work as well. And you need some kind of paper as your base to start on. Scissors would help, either Elmer's glue sticks if you don't have Elmer's glue, or a hot glue gun if you're lucky enough to have one. And I think that's it. Now, Stephanie, just a note to you, if you're enjoying this class and you want to come back and would like to receive advanced emails from me about what the class is going to be about, you can put in the chat box, just send the chat to me. You can put your email address and I'll be happy to add you to my email list to let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So take a minute, everyone, gather up all your materials. Oh, and paint. If you want to do this mixed media piece in paint, feel free to do that. Magazine photos, if you're into collage. I have this folder here of many, many magazine photos that I've been collecting over the years. They will help you as well. I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to gather all your stuff, and then I'm going to give you some ideas and suggestions about how to go about tackling this fun project. And remember, as always, do I want you to copy Mickalene Thomas? No. Do I want you to recreate her style of art? No. This is about you having fun and expressing yourself, practicing your own skills, experiencing and enjoying your own style of art. And welcome to everyone who made it in. Again, I know it was tough. I mean, I couldn't get in either. So it was all hands on deck. We love our new librarian, Andy, who rescued us
Awesome.
and got us in. Much thanks to Andy. And I'm actually envious. It looks like most of you who have AC where you live. I do not.
Oh, really?
I personally hate air conditioning, but the last few days I could have used it, just saying. I see some people have started already. Bravo. All right, so here's some tips and advice. I would recommend that you think about portrait. As with Mickalene Thomas, I would like you today to try and create a mixed media portrait. Think glam, think gorgeous, think fabulous. Go the RuPaul route with this project. And find the shiniest things you have. I mean, it could be bits of plastic bag that you cut up. Whatever you have that's shiny and glittery. Think colorful. And then spend a minute or two sifting through that stuff and try and limit. Oh, here's Shirley finally. Try and limit yourself to either a particular palette, a particular type of shape. Do you want to go organic or geometric? Or perhaps a particular textural effect. Do you want it to be super bumpy? Or do you want it to be very smooth and shiny, kind of glassine in appearance? Then in pencil on your paper, do a rough sketch of the portrait that you want to do. Color it in, either with your colored drawing equipment or paint, then work on the collage. Fill in as much of the shapes in your portrait as you can with either the paint or the colored drawing equipment first, and then start collaging. Any questions?
Are we doing it from life? Are we, I mean, meaning we have a picture?
I would have if you're lucky enough to have a model sitting for you, or if you're doing a self-portrait, as always, I prefer that you work from life. But, you know, if you're not lucky enough to have a large mirror or someone willing to model for you, I would get a picture. You know, large, I always recommend large magazine advertising pictures go for someone who's looking straight ahead. Much easier to draw. Great question. Any others? Love those questions. Oh, Naomi made it. Shirley finally made it. Welcome. Sorry for the technical glitches.
Yeah,
Lily,
I'm
welcome.
happy I'm in. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Heidi.
Heidi is not with us today, so you can thank Andy.
Thank you, Andy. At last, I'm in. I missed something, right? What have I missed?
Not much, Shirley. We just talked about our artist, Mickalene Thomas. I'm going to put her name in the chat box again for everyone.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
You're welcome. And we have talked about her in the past. Oh, and I do want to mention that those of you who are Hoboken residents or who live close enough to Hoboken, who can come to Hoboken, our senior classes are restarting in-person classes at the Multipurpose Center at 2nd and Grand Street in Hoboken. We are starting in-person classes next Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. They will run from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. every Tuesday. So I'm thrilled and delighted to welcome all of you back. I'm not sure what the art supply situation will be for our first class, so I'm asking that you just please bring pencil and paper just in case to that first class. I'm putting Mickalene's name in the box. I'm also putting my email address for those of you who might have lost it or don't have it. If you have any questions that you didn't get to ask. And in a minute, I'm going to start showing you what I'm going to work on today. And it was a good decision on my part, I must say. I decided that I'm going to keep working on the portrait that I began last week. For those of you who were with us last week, and I'm going to glam it up. I'm going to start collaging on it. I think I'm going to do a little bit more soft pastel work, and then I'm going to start collaging on top of that drawing. It is a portrait. I'm going to move my easel closer. And as always, you can watch me if you wish. As an art teacher, though, I prefer that you not watch me for the whole class. I don't want you to copy me. You can watch briefly for ideas, flip back and forth between watching me and doing your own work, but my main goal is to get you creating today. Thank you in advance for those of you who are muted. And a reminder to those of you who are not. I want to try and know why my emails are open. Actually, they're not. I don't know why we keep hearing my emails pinging. My email is not open, so I can only apologize for that. So sorry. That's annoying. So I'm bringing the portrait closer that I was working on. You can see my portrait is rather large and it fills the entire page. Which means my collage work is going to be done on top of the face. Which, if you saw and remembered, Mickalene Thomas did that herself. I'm going to add a little bit of soft pastel color, more of it to the face. Didn't get to finish that last week. One thing that I found personally when working with collage, the more of the flat background surface I fill in with color first, the easier it is for me to figure out where I'm going to put my disparate pieces of collage. It helps me to pull the entire composition together. And one note about the piece that I worked on last week, because we were learning the parts of the face and how to do guidelines, I do still have these black lines in the middle of the face, which, you know, they're okay. I would prefer they weren't there. But just so you know, normally I would have erased them had I been just using pencil. Oh, and one last shameless plug, sorry to interrupt. Tomorrow night, the Union City Public Library is hosting an Ibuendoy reverse glass painting workshop. If you go to the Union City Public Library website, you can register for his workshop. The Union City Public Library is providing the art supplies, so if you are able to, you can go there to pick up. in my Hoboken. So I'm going to use mainly fabric and maybe a little bit of yarn in my glam activity. And I'm limiting my palette to orange and blues because those of you who are with me last class, you may recall I used the primary color blue with its complement orange to work on skin tone. So since I started in that palette and I'm continuing with this piece, I'm going to stick with it. Or I'm going to try to. Because I just picked up something glittery that's not orange or blue. I really like it. Think about that. Again, suggestion. You may have a pile of great stuff. Play with it. Touch it. Feel it. Let your fingers run through it. Before you make final decisions about what you want to use, lay them against your piece, move it around. Don't glue anything down until you're fairly certain about where you want it to go.
Huh.
I want to have fun with the hair.
Uh, Thank you.
Welcome. Do remember when you're using heavier weight materials, you need a thicker glue like Elmer's glue or a glue gun. Glue sticks are good for paper to paper, but if you're doing even glitter, anything 3D that you're trying to glue down, Elmer's glue would probably work better for you. Ouch. And if you're using a hot glue gun, be careful. Here's another tip. When you're laying out your composition, if you're not sure about something, you can roll some blue painter's tape on the back and tape it down before you glue it. Do something temporary before you make your final decision. Let's see if I have any tape. But I did. So this is the tape I was referring to. This is what house painters use all the time. It's wonderful because it never really sticks permanently to anything. Take it, roll it. You can just stick it on the back. Put it where you want it, and if you don't like it, you can remove it. I kind of like it. I'm going to keep it. Glue it on. Excuse me. Everyone doing okay? Working hard, okay. Going for the gold now. I have these little jewelry fasteners I really like the look of. Starting to attach them. Oh, you probably can't even see them. They're so small. I'll just have to keep adding more. This is fun. Hope you're all enjoying. So we are at sharing time, but I think today, because we had such a late start, I think we're going to just keep working. And then at 5 of, we're going to stop. I'm going to talk briefly about the artists for next week. And maybe everyone can hold up their work if they're willing. And next week, if you come early to class, you can share your work, or as always, you can send me JPEGs of your work, and I'm happy to give tips and advice via email. But I don't want to interrupt. I feel like we just got started. So no sharing today. Keep working. So I'm not finished. I want to add a little bit more glam to my lady. But you can see I'm really having fun collaging today. You guys keep working. So in one more minute, I'm gonna stop us and talk about our next artist.
Hi, Liz.
Hi.
It's Jane.
How you?
I'm sorry, let me get my video on. So I just had a little PSA for anyone who's interested, and I wanted to mention,
Sure, quick.
tomorrow there's an important solar event, a once in a lifetime crescent sun will be rising at 5:20 for anyone who will be up that early. And it's a solar eclipse, and I just thought people might be interested to know.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely interested.
I'm hoping my neighbor will find the glasses, because you cannot look directly. So
No, remind me one day. I will share with everyone a funny story about my honeymoon and the last solar eclipse 4 years ago.
wow.
And not having solar watching glasses and being an elementary school science teacher, I thought I knew how to see the solar eclipse. Did not go well.
Oh,
But
I'm gonna. My neighbor has the glasses. I just have to ask her if she found them.
Yeah, I hope so.
The other quick thing I wanted to offer was that I have some fabrics that I could, for example, bring. I can't make it next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday I could bring them to Multi-Service Center if people are. Okay.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Of you. We'll use them for something.
I know. So I don't want to overload anyone or any space. So I'll just like bring a few little pieces, and then more when, when we have place to put them and share them.
Okay. Yeah,
Great.
I'm not sure. Well, we'll talk. I don't want to take up any more time.
Exactly. Thank you.
Sure what our storage capacity is going to be going forward. So just bring a few things. That would be awesome. And we'll go from there. Thank you so much. So before we have to say goodbye, which is in just a couple of minutes, I did put in the chat box the name of our artist for next week is Beaufort Delaney. He was a great artist during the Harlem Renaissance during the 1930s and 40s. He was a very close friend of James Baldwin, and he did an extremely famous portrait of James Baldwin himself. In fact, that's probably what Delaney is most famous for, but we're going to look at several of his pieces, and I will be sending all of you an email during the days to come talking about what we are going to create in his space, shall we say. And he was a gay African-American artist, so he fits with our LGBTQ celebration in the month of June. It is, I believe, 12 o'clock. Are there any last minute parting words? I want to say I hope everyone had a marvelous time. I really love doing collage work. I'm not sure what everyone did. Could we all just kind of hold up what we made? Many of you are off camera. At least this way I can scroll through. Wow. 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 I am so proud of you.
Not finished, but working.
We never, any of us finish during the time is not long enough. Awesome. Nice job, everybody. And if you don't feel like sharing now, you can always send me JPEGs. That way we can have a longer chat about what you're doing.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you, Liz.
And I will see you all in a week. Stay cool,
Ciao.
do art, and
Thank you. Be well. Bye.
Bye.
maybe I'll see some of you on Tuesday,
Ciao.
next Tuesday or tomorrow night at the Union City Public Library.
Yes.
Ciao.
Ciao.
A biento.
Bientôt.